I always had a pretty decent experience with Airbnb, but not in Bucharest. So what happened? And why Bucharest disappointed me? Yes, because it wasn't only Airbnb the problem. There were other factors that didn't make my stay in the capital of Romania really enjoyable. Let's start from the beginning. I took a train from Budapest to Bucharest, and it took me 17 hours to reach my destination. Yes, 17 hours on train. It was really tough because I couldn't buy anything on the train and I almost ran out of water. But the landscape I saw from the window was really amazing, since we crossed Transylvania. I arrived to Bucharest around midnight. For the first few days I booked a hostel close to the station. The first impression was quite bad because the hostel was located in a rough area and I didn't feel very safe walking there with my bag. I reached my hostel safely, but unfortunately it was very cold inside, so I decided to go for the Airbnb. Found a pretty decent apartment at an affordable price and with self-check-in. And this is what I found. My apartment was completely in disorder, and this was my bed when I just checked in. Never had such an experience with Airbnb. I texted the owner, he apologized 1,000 times and cleaned himself the room. So this is the first thing that made my stay in Bucharest not so enjoyable. Let's get now to the second reason. Prices. Despite Romania being overall a cheap country compared to the rest of Europe, Bucharest is an exception. This shouldn't really be a surprise since we are talking about a capital. But still there is too much difference between Bucharest and the other minor cities of Romania, and such high prices can be justified just because it's the capital. The thing is that I was paying Western and Central European prices to get things that didn't have the Western and Central European quality. And now let's get to the third reason. City aesthetic. The center of Bucharest is characterized by Soviet-style buildings, grey and very depressing. These buildings give a sad vibe to the whole city, and then there is this huge parliament building that is bigger than the one in Budapest, but is 100 times uglier, and it's the highest expression of dictator Ceausescu megalomania. Actually, the city center looked way better before Romania became a Soviet republic, and when Ceausescu took the power, he decided to change this part of the city in a drastic way. And let's just say that his taste for what concerns architecture isn't that great. Moreover, the city doesn't have a lot to offer. There are few monuments that don't really stand out, and the symbol of the city, unfortunately, is the infamous Parliament building. So to wrap up, I had the worst experience ever with Airbnb. Products and services were overpriced and the city doesn't have a lot to offer. However, I met really cool people during these 2 weeks that made my stay much more interesting and fun. And I have to say that nightlife in Bucharest isn't that bad. There are some nice bars and clubs where I spent good time with travelers and local people. This was my experience in Bucharest that probably suffered from the comparison with the previous city I visited, Budapest, for me the best in Europe. But I think Bucharest can be a very interesting city for the people that are into history and into communism. Otherwise, I would recommend to visit other small cities in Romania, like Cluj-Napoca, Sibiu, and Brașov. Cities that preserve the original Romanian character without being affected by the communist madness. And now it's time to take the bus and visit the last country in Europe that will mark the end of the first part of this travel. This is the least visited country in Europe, and I was advised to not go there. Did I follow this suggestion? Of course no. See you in the next video. Want to know what will happen? Then just subscribe to my channel. See you there.